we're in the middle of December, basically. Thanksgiving was a couple weeks ago. The last time I posted was before Thanksgiving, I believe. Just sent out a sports podcast yesterday. We're not going to really count that. We're going to call this the first one back because I'm going to be talking about everything free and loose, okay, baby? And honestly, it's just this time of year has me think a lot. I mean, you're always meeting with family, a lot of get-togethers. You got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, and a common denominator is Entenmann's. Entenmann's is unbelievable. I can list them all off. Okay, so the top of the food chain here is like you got just the pound cake. We get the loaf of the pound cake. It's buttery. It's got a nice moist middle on the top. You can go for that marble cake. Then you start getting to the flatter things. So you have coffee cake, right? Or you got crumb cake. Their crumb cake's great. You got a cheese Danish. You got a raspberry fucking filled thing. Then you start getting to the cardboard box game. You got the mini cookies. Everyone knows the mini cookies. If you want to be a nice guy, if you're under the age of 18 and you're going to someone's house, you bring a box of those mini Entenmann's cookies, and everyone thinks you're a good guy. Everyone thinks you're raised right. That is the thing to bring to a house. Then you got the skinny long box of donuts, whether that's the chocolate-covered regular donut or you have the powdered sugar. The mini powdered sugar is amazing as well, or trumps all of them, is the variety pack. You got, I'm not exactly sure which ones are in it besides the best one, which is the cinnamon. It's like cinnamon coated in powdered sugar with those little like beads on the top of it. Unbelievable. Entenmann's, let me set the stage for you here. It's a family gathering. It's a family get-together. Everyone had this. You go, let's say it's cousin Johnny's birthday, okay? Little Johnny. You're showing up. You're getting together. You're having a good time. The clock strikes 9. Guess what? The Entenmann's rolls out. You got an ice cream cake from Carvel coming in from somewhere. Not a Fudgy the Whale. We're talking about a white one, maybe a little bit of like a blue icing with the name on it. Happy birthday, Johnny, or happy birthday, Anthony, whatever the name is. Then this is the pivotal moment where you know, okay, this is real. Is when maybe a couple of the adults or maybe one brave person goes, you know what, I'll just go on my own. Don't worry about it. And they go to Dunkin' Donuts and they get a couple of those cardboard jugs. I think it's called a Box of Joe. So now you're looking around. You got the Entenmann's on the table. You got some coffee on the table with those little plastic or paper Dunkin' Donuts Dixie cups. Everyone's having a laugh. You got some good music on. That's what it's all about. And then if you want to branch off of the Entenmann's world of things, then you could even talk about, and by the way, I can't wait for that stuff. That's why I love Christmas. That's why I love all this shit. But then you want to branch off from the Entenmann's side of things, and then you go into Hostess, you go into Drake's. Entenmann's is more of the, like, what you're going to do in an event, but the Drake's is going to be in your house all the time. So you got ring dings, you got yodels. There's another one that I never had. It was with the peanut butter in it. I'm forgetting the name of it. But then, you got ho-hos. Everyone loves ho-hos. I'm not a Twinkie guy. That's Hostess. I'm not a Twinkie guy at all. I think they also had those cupcakes with the it almost looks like lace of icing. Not for me. But then you got a couple prime ones. You got Devil Dogs, huge, and then the cream of the crop. The best thing ever is the 2-pack of the coffee cakes from, I think Drake's makes it. So let's peel back the time right now. Let's go all the way back in time, and let's think about you're in 5th grade, maybe you're in 3rd grade, maybe you're in 8th grade. This is universal for your entire childhood. You show up to school with a brown paper bag. In that brown paper bag, if you're lucky, is either Italian bread in aluminum foil or just a regular white bread aluminum foil, salami sandwich, or some type of cold cut that isn't like turkey or ham or fucking bologna or some bullshit like that, okay? The cheese on there doesn't matter. I usually go for provolone, but anyway, that's what you're getting in the sandwich end of things. Then, sometimes you get a devil dog, and we all like devil dogs, so great. But if you're lucky, and it's a good week at the grocery store for your mother, you're surprised to see probably 2 things. You're surprised to see that 2-pack of coffee cakes, which is out of control, or some homemade baked good in a Ziploc. Either one of those are great, but honestly, the coffee cake the 2-pack of coffee cakes is out of control. So you get those, and then a warm. It doesn't matter if it's warm or cold, but it's going to be warm because it's lunchtime and it's been in that brown paper bag. A Capri Sun. If you can get that for lunch, it was a great day. You go rip up the pickup games at recess after that. Seriously, I feel bad for the kids, and this is listen. When I was a kid, I was always jealous of the kids who would bring their fucking, what's that called? Where you make the shit, Lunchables. I was always jealous of those kids. I would beg. I want to make pizza from fucking ketchup and pieces of cheddar cheese on a Ritz cracker. I want to do that. I want to make. No, my family was right. They set down some rules and listen. They made me a better man for it, because now I look back and I think about once in a while the thought of a Lunchables fucking pizza or whatever the hell else, or God forbid eating the lunch at school, which was like 30-day-old bagels with like old cheese on it and like, again, ketchup as the sauce, or chicken nuggets that had plastic in it. I was better for it. So God bless all that. I again, I don't love Hostess, but has me thinking. The holiday season makes me reminisce really more than I like to admit. And since we're on the topic of food, we'll bring it up to date here. I got to tell you a story about what happened. Probably a week and a half ago, right? Because I haven't posted in a couple weeks. So I'm going to you can look it up. I'm going to what's called Long Island Drum Center in Hicksville, New York, and yeah, I needed to pick up a new pair of sticks, and it was right near closing time. And I don't want to bash the place because it's one of the only places with a wide variety of different types of sticks and a lot of used pieces of stuff, and it's mom and pop. I love that, but I mean, I go in there, it's always a wreck. They're always closing early. I didn't even realize that. So anyway, to cut to the chase, I get there. It's supposed to close at 8. I get there like 7:50. I mean, the lights are off, bro. Come on. So on my way there, I'm a little hungry, and I asked my mother because I was in town. I was like, because I was in town, I fucking live at home still. I literally I call my mom and I'm like, hey, like, what does everyone want for dinner? Like, we didn't eat. You didn't cook today. Like, what should I get? So she's like, all right, while you're there, I'll look around and see if there's anything, and then I'll let you know. So I said, okay. So then, anyway, I'm not going to tell you the name of the place because that would be insensitive of me. But she calls me up. She goes, oh, you know what? Like, I'm in the mood for a meatball hero, and so is I, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we order from this place. Now, keep in mind, I know another location of this place, which is very, very good in a completely different part of Long Island. And it's the same owner. I know it is. So I walk into this place. After the drum center that was closed, I'm pissed, blah, blah, blah. Walk into this place, and already the vibe is off. Like, there's an Outback Steakhouse next to it, and it's not like it's another building next to it. It's literally connected. Like, it's like a fucking, like, a shopping center, and there's people coming out with, like, takeout of Outback Steakhouse. So already I'm like, I'm on high alert. I'm like, something doesn't feel right. I park the car, go right inside. As soon as I get in, there's a must in the air. I swear there's a must in the air. I beeline, obviously, straight to the register. The order was already placed. Now, I'm not going to usually, I mean, I don't even think twice about this, but usually when you go pick up food, you wait for it to be done. Once it's done, the guy checks the shit, and then boom, you get rung up, and then you go home. You paid already. Done. This I wasn't thinking. I go straight to the register, and before the food's ready, I pay. Not a big deal. As I'm paying, though, I noticed that, like, two of the girls who, like, work the front door, they're, like, getting ready to leave. So I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, wait a second. It's 8 o'clock. I was like, are they shutting down soon? Like, are we about to get smoked where the quality of like, it's the end of the night, like, for the kitchen? So I look at my watch. No. Or I look at my phone. They close at 11. So I'm like, something's off here. So no one's really eating. A couple people, like, sketchy-looking people. As I'm paying, the glass where you see the pizza, the all the different slices they have, it's, like, dirty. It could use a nice Windex, if you know what I mean. And anyway, I pay. Don't think anything of it. Now, as I'm waiting for this food, I'm just like, oh, damn, we got. Like, this is not going to be good. I don't know what. I mean, I guess they're related, the two restaurants, but maybe they're not because this is gross and blah, blah, blah. And as I'm watching what's going on, always in a three-point stance, ready to go, right? I always got to be ready for whatever's going to come, right? So anyway, as I'm waiting, I see out of the corner of my eye, my side of my eye, something's moving. So I'm like, what the fuck could that be? I dart my eyes to the right, and you got it. It's a fucking cockroach. It's a literal, and I'll be the first to admit I do not do bugs at all. Like, at all. I don't care if it's like a little thing or a fucking roach, dude. Oh, you got to be fucking with a roach. It's over. Like, I lived in an apartment 2 years ago that there was like a water bug that looks like a roach that's huge. I thought a fucking football flew across the room. I couldn't sleep the same after that. It was like a month before the lease was up. I had to dip. I had to leave. I couldn't do it. Call me a pussy. I don't care. So anyway, I see a roach. So now, and I want to keep this, this whole story, I want you to understand that I'm 27 years old. So I'm not a child anymore. So what do I do? What's the logical thing to do? I just leave. So I just leave. I just walk out and I call my mom and I go, yo, like, I'm not picking up food from there. Like, there was a fucking roach in the place walking around the floor like he was one of the customers. Like, there's no way. There's no chance in hell that I'm eating in this place. So she's like, no, I agree. The issue is that I fucking paid already. So now I go, yeah, but I paid. I don't know what to do. So she's like, you got to go back in there. She's like trying to pump me up. I'm like, I'm not going back in there. It's embarrassing. I can't do that. So she's fucking getting pissed at me. She's yelling at me. And then I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'll eat the fucking 80, whatever the money it was. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going in there and embarrassing myself. And God forbid that roach is still there. He's going to see me twice. He's going to jump in my face. That's how I feel. So I'm waiting in my car. My mom, like I'm 5 years old, calls the guy and is like, hey, my son just came in. He saw a fucking roach. We don't want food. Can we get a refund? So he tells my mom, smart guy. He goes, yeah, tell him to come in, and I'll have to do whatever, void out the card. So she calls me up. She goes, hey, you got to go in. So now I'm like almost laughing, like, all right, I'm going to really do this. I'm going to really walk in. So I walk back in, and the guy, by the way, bad business. If you own a business, don't do this. First of all, fix your roach problem. But second of all is if I walk in, I get maybe I was a pussy and I didn't want to talk to him face-to-face, fine. Call me a fucking loser. But either way, I walk back in. He has the receipt that says voided transaction on it already and just flicks it. And he goes, and I go, hey, before he flicked it, I was like, hey, we just spoke, like I'm going to come for the refund or whatever. And he goes, it's already done. You didn't want the food. Flicks it at me. Bro, I don't have the fucking roach. Why don't you handle the roach problem before you give me attitude? So anyway, I survived that situation. It was a little crazy, but bottom line is I'm not eating anywhere. And listen, I get that there's probably roaches in other restaurants, but if you have an issue, they're in the public. They're in the main eye. So there's an issue with that. Again, I'm not going to drop the name of that restaurant. I will never step foot in even on the same block as that restaurant. So now we're talking about food, and we're talking about whether it's little cake and coffee with the family or now this roach situation at that restaurant or whatever you want to call it, pizzeria. And that brings me to my next point, which is I am at physical rock bottom, okay? I posted a TikTok or a clip from a podcast probably 3 months ago where I was like in my Denver Nuggets snapback, like it's 2009. I was like, I'm getting in the best shape of my life. I'm tired of this. What do you think happened? It was like depressing October. Pumpkin beer was around. There was friends' birthdays. And I got lazy and hungover most of the time. And obviously I had quit my job right around there, so I had no motivation for anything. And it was just like, and here I am. Tits, gut, back fat. I got it all. Got the works, right? So I'm taking a stand, I think. I'm taking a stand, and we're going to see. I've been doing cardio once a day, as well as lifting once a day. So I got 2 a days basically going. I wake up pretty early now, get my sleep schedule fixed like a real human being. But I'll tell you what. I mean, fucking running is not easy, okay? And I ran in the I'm like really locked in right now, so I've been like, it doesn't matter what the weather is. I run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I cycle or like Peloton spin, I guess, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And yesterday, today's Thursday, yesterday it rained like a lot. And I said, fuck it, I'm running. So, and I don't fuck with treadmills. So I ran in the rain. And I walked a mile and then I ran a mile. It wasn't a bad pace. It was like an 8:30 pace. Like, okay, blow me. I just started running again. I used to run, like 6-minute miles. And I posted it on Strava as a joke. Or I posted it, it always goes to Strava. I posted my Strava on my Twitter as a joke because it was raining. So I said, like, in the rain, you can't stop me. Like, and I got people, and you know who you are if you're watching this podcast. I hope you're watching this podcast. I got people making fun that it was a mile run. I might talk shit about some celebrities here and there, but I am done, and I've been done with putting negative energy in the air whatsoever. And that's like when you see a overweight person in the gym. I am fucking happy for them. Let them. I'm never going to make fun of effort. So if I walked and ran a mile in the fucking rain, it's more than I would have if I just sat on my fucking ass. I'm getting better than I did yesterday. I shouldn't hear anyone, and granted, maybe it was a joke and I'm taking myself too seriously here, but either way, I don't need to hear any negativity around my fitness journey or my anything, right? It's taken enough of a fucking grab of my dick and balls to fucking start posting on social media and start doing all this shit, whether it's TikTok or Snapchat, or not Snapchat, TikTok or YouTube, all this stuff. I don't need to hear from anyone about anything. There was a lot of chirping when I first, and I technically just first started. It's only been like 2 months, but you would be surprised. A lot of people like to talk about like, ooh, this guy, what the fuck's he doing? Yo, Trito, he's fucking, or excuse me, yo, oh, JohnnyCast, what is he doing, bro? Like, he's posting this shit. Is he losing his mind? I enjoy this. This is a fun thing to me. I get to talk like I always do. I'm a high-strung guy. I like to talk a lot. I have a lot of opinions, and I like to fucking run now. And hopefully, when it's June, and I'm 178 pounds of 10% lean body mass, like a king, we'll see who's laughing. When I'm running a 7-minute mile, joining a fucking duathlon like a king, fucking got my Garmin watch on, doing I'm flying to London to do a high rocks. I mean, we'll see who's laughing. We'll see who's making the joke on Twitter. All right, bud? So if you're watching this, go fuck yourself. All right? Go fuck yourself. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about, let's look at the agenda. Since we're talking about fitness, I'll also get into this. So the Liver King stuff came out. That guy's a fucking clown. I think he's got ab implants. Who knows? We've known this forever. It's this weird thing. So I mentioned this a couple podcasts ago. It's called mental masturbation. And it's where you read motivation. It's when you read motivational stuff over and over and over again, because it like gives you a little bit of a dopamine spike, but it doesn't give you enough to change. And so you keep seeking out that like momentary dopamine spike from getting motivated, but then you actually never like follow through with it. So it's just this never-ending cyclical garbage like circle of just like things are going to change, and then you read this thing. This is the thing that changed it for me, and then like 2 days later you're back at square one, and it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. So what's interesting about all that type of stuff is, and why that's relevant to this conversation, is that there's similar things that are not motivation based. But I'll give you a quick example. I've been into working out and fitness for over a decade now, right? Yeah, probably like 11 years, 10 years since I've been like 17. Yeah. So, like since I've been like 16. And I'm not saying I'm like a fucking doctor, but I know so much about not only like nutrition, but also I know a lot, because like when you watch YouTube for 10 years and you've went through multiple generations of like YouTube fitness bloggers, vloggers, and all this type of stuff, you start gaining information. We're talking from like Matt Ogus, Chris Jones, all those types of guys, even like Six Pack Shortcuts, Mike Chang. Then you get into like the next generation from that, which was like, and I want to mention Chris Lovato. Then you get into like Max Tuning, Christian Guzman, David Lade, Dylan McKenna, all those guys. And then you get to this next level, which I'm not even involved in, obviously, but it's like all these fucking TikTok guys. And also Brad Martin was back in that day. I know what there is to know. So now, like, people who seek new information on things that they already know the answer to are just wasting their time. And that's the same thing with Liver King. It's like, I could have told you off rip 7 years ago, Liver King's on juice. Everyone knows he's on gear. All these guys, it's just a circle jerk of information, and, like, just everyone's wasting each other's time. That's why when I go on TikTok, and I don't want to bash TikTok, but, like, half of it's misinformation. Half of it is just, like, complete just things we already knew before. I see this like every fucking day. I see a new like 18-year-old kid have like a life hack that everyone's known since like 1995. Like, it's just frustrating to watch. So that's why like I gotta learn to just put the phone down. TikTok is so, and I'm not really on it that much. I will say I'm really not on it. But besides posting, TikTok is just brutal with all of that stuff, and it turns into now like YouTube. Like, I will say one of the only like innovative types of things in the fitness industry that changed stuff that wasn't like repeating it over and over again was like when Greg Doucette started getting popular, or like even like when Greg Doucette got popular and he started popularizing like all that like the fucking anabolic cookbook and stuff like that. It's like we that was good, but like besides that, you get the guys saying the same shit like Keno Body and fucking like, it's funny you think about all these guys who just now, I guess they're still posting, but you don't really hear about them, like Furious Pete, Scooby. Yeah, I was into all that shit. I was into all that shit. That was a really fun time. Hodge Twins was a huge influence. That was amazing. But yeah, Liver King was obviously a fraud. Pretty much anyone, Matt Does Fitness not being on steroids and like being confirmed that he's not is unbelievable. That guy, that actually makes me think, okay, wait, maybe let's pump the brakes. Maybe there are a couple guys who really are gifted like that, because to look like that, I think he's like 6'1", to be that like massive, to have that much actual lean mass on him, to be that, and he's over 30 is incredible. He's got nuts. So that's really that's my fitness talk, and so yeah, that's mind blowing. And then I'm thinking about like now I'm thinking about the gym. I said this on Twitter. There is just such an annoying. I love the gym. Don't get me wrong, but there's a couple like aspects of the gym culture that is so brutal. I'll tell you the first aspect that is just miserable, and it depends on what type of gym you go. So we'll go high end first, then we'll go low end. So if you go to a high end level gym, which is like a Lifetime or an Equinox, you're gonna get it's amazing because it's like this everywhere. You're gonna get a trainer who is like mid-50s, is underweight, balding. He's wearing the branded, which he has to, I think, the branded company shirt. He's going to be wearing On Cloud shoes. And he's really not going to know anything. And he's going to be training people who are like at the same age, who are fat, and they're doing things that are just counterproductive to their goals, in what I had to imagine. I mean, I saw this guy, this overweight dude, being trained by one of these trainers at my gym. And there's like 80 of these guys who look the same. They're all these trainers look the same. They all wear the On Cloud, pandering to like the high-end client. It's hysterical. That's like the symbol for I am just like rich, but like I want to show you that I'm rich, right? And I also want to show you that like I don't actually go to the gym or do anything athletic. It's just buy On Cloud sneakers. So unless you like are wearing the Cloud Monsters because that's like a max cushioning shoe for running, besides that, yeah, those regular On Cloud trainers, whatever you want to call them, classic. I don't go to the gym and I pay 80 times more than I should for training sessions to get me exactly where I was when I started. So basically, this guy is doing like skull crushers with the absolute worst form of all time. Now, I don't want to jump on you if you have bad form. Maybe you're uneducated, or maybe you haven't, like, maybe you're a beginner. Okay, fine. But you're paying for a trainer. And what is the trainer doing? He's standing behind this guy, bouncing a fucking Spalding pink fucking handball while this guy is busting out like fucking, he's gonna break his elbows and his forehead at the same time. So it's really the fitness industry is so interesting to me because there's this fundamental like ideology that the regular person feels where it's like, I'm just not in shape. I don't know anything. And because I see people who are in shape, it must be very hard and complex to get in shape or to know things, whether that's calorie counting or just basic workout routines or just regular dietary like guidelines. They have no idea. So they unfortunately they go, oh, I'm paying $200 a month to go to Lifetime, and I can pay another whatever X amount of dollars to get a trainer. This has to be the correct guidance, right? So I feel bad for people like that because then you get Seth in his fucking Equinox shirt who's fucking bouncing a handball in your face while you're doing burpees for 5 minutes, then go home and then fucking sit in your couch and fucking, yeah. So that's the high-level gym. And then the low-level gym is way different but almost equally as comical. The low-end gym, the Crunch Fitnesses of the world, which I have nothing bad to say about. I actually enjoy those types of gyms. The Crunch Fitnesses of the world, there's a million of them, right? What's the Retro Fitness, all those. They're all going to have a bunch of these guys, which are they're going to have like the hot yoga pants trainers that are girls, which if you're a 50-year-old dude and you're letting her train you, then God bless you because there's probably an ulterior motive. But if you're a male trainer in those gyms, most likely you're either in that 50-year range as well, but you're like roided out of your mind, or this is the best, or you're like 18 to 23. You just graduated high school, maybe college you thought wasn't for you, or maybe you're taking community college classes. Again, nothing wrong with that. And while you're doing that, you're on a pro-hormone cycle, oral only, smoking your kidneys, just like trying to be as jacked as possible to fool people into thinking that you know what you're talking about. So the amount of old women I've seen who live around my area since I've grown up and that are going into these types of gyms and getting personally trained by like some random kid who gets a fake tan every day and is vascular as fuck because he's taking Cialis for the pump and he's taking pro hormones and he's gonna die when he's 40. And he has a mullet and he's wearing Nike Blazers and he's wearing Young LA joggers, is out of control. Best Pro Shops hat, dangling cross earring, so many of them. And yes, the attire may have changed from now, that's the in style now, but even 8 years ago when I was that, or not 8 years ago, but even like 4 or 5 years ago when I was that age, same thing, just different attire. It was a tight fitting t-shirt. You had to have like a realism sleeve and fucking like short. I think if I was not up to the level of education I am in personal health and fitness and all this stuff, I really don't know where I'd go besides YouTube, because I don't know where you. And granted, there's going to be way big outliers of this, where like I'm sure there's guys who are great trainers. I'm sure there is, but most of the people I see are complete clowns, and I feel bad for the people wasting their money. They go, ooh, he has a bicep vein, or ooh, he's wearing on-cloud sneakers. He must know what he's doing, right? And it's just a shame. So I'll say that I am a big like phase guy, and everyone who knows me knows this. So like, if I like a band, it's all I listen to for a month, and I know everything about the band, every single thing about their discography, everything. Same time, type of movie I like, then I'll be watching like Western, like neo westerns or like spaghetti westerns for like a month, and then I'll know everything about the genre and the directors and this and that. Same thing with TV show, all of it, right? So I recently got into Jackass because Steve-O has a very successful podcast on YouTube, and I just couldn't believe how it's incredible how he turned his life around. He's now been sober for, I think, over 15 years. He's so well-spoken. He seems like a very bright guy. He understands. He tries to help people. He's a great guy. So, I mean, dude, he's got 1.5 million followers on Instagram or on YouTube. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. Subscribers. So I decided to watch like the show, which is 4 seasons, I think. 3 seasons and like some extra episodes from like 2000 to 2003, and then I watched the movie 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and 4.5, and got to know the cast. And here I am, like on my couch watching like a Ryan Dunn documentary, crying. Like I got into it basically. Make a long story short, I got into it. But anyway. I love the Jackass like vibe. It's so fucking punk. Like all of them have like, besides Steve-O, who has like actually crazy tattoos, all of them have like pretty cool, just like random ass tattoos, in the moment tattoos. Their lingo is out of control. They're always saying either gnarly or rad or like all those types of words. They're all good at skating because they also basically all came from skating or like some type of like board sport. But they're always the attire in the early 2000s was sick, baggy fucking like cargo pants with like skate shoes, Vans, like Etnies, all that DC, all that shit, just badass. Like it just is such a cool period of time. And then it had me thinking. So I came out the other end of that rabbit hole, and then I was thinking about just like MTV in the prime of my life, which was like of childhood, which was like 2000 to 2008 when I was like a kid, and you had a couple different elements of the MTV scenario. So first, let's go with the basics. You have the music videos. It's dead now, clearly. It's been dead for a long time. But like 2004, I'm just at my grandma's house, wherever I am. I'm just drinking it all in. You have like South, like Atlanta trill. You have like Houston type rap. Then you have like alternative and like actual like, I don't know, like punk rock was still mainstream. So you have like Boulevard of Broken Dreams video. Then you have Ludacris and all of his videos popping off. Nelly, 50 Cent with like Massacre and Candy Shop, all that stuff. Then you got R&B, like Get Right, J-Lo. All these legendary music videos always playing. Like MTV2 always had a string of music videos going. Or I didn't have it because I had DirecTV. But like I think like cable had like MTV Hits. And they would just play music videos over and over and over again. So the music videos were unbelievable, and then you really that's what sparked my love for music videos, truly. I don't know what happened to MTV, it's crazy, but yeah, so that was that. Then you have the shows like Room Raiders and Next and all of those shows, Parental Control, oh my God. Parental Control was unbelievable. When you're a fucking little kid too, like it's risque, so it's fun. Okay, so you have that. The Parental Control, the dating type thing. Then you have like the X Effect and all that stuff, which was like, even this wasn't MTV, but I'll include VH1 also. Like Shot at Love with like what's his name? With Flava Flav and like Tila Tequila and those twins, like a double Shot at Love or whatever. Then you had the Ray J show, like Bret Michaels had a fucking dating show. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So you have all that. And then you have like the MTV Cribs and the Pimp My Ride. MTV Cribs is so nostalgic now. If you go back and watch some of those episodes, I could cry. I'll break down and cry. You have that. You have, like I said, MTV. You have Pimp My Ride. Unbelievable nostalgia from that. True Life. Oh my God. True Life was fucking I learned so much about like the human condition from True Life. You have people on heroin, people in triangle relationships. You have people who are like have acne, fucking everything. Like literally. Unbelievable show. Then you have some of my favorites. You have Real World. You have the reality. You have Real World. You have Road Rules Challenge. You have Real World Road Rules Challenge. All of that shit was like heroin to me when I was a kid. Like, that was such an amazing moment in time. Robin Big, like, all of that stuff. Viva La Bam. Oh, then, yeah, let's get into that. So, Jackass, you had Wild Boys, which was the best. I think Wild Boys was the best version of any of the Jackass kind of, like, family. Wild Boys, Viva La Bam, like, all that stuff was just so funny. When you're a kid, it's fucking funny. Like, VH1 also had more, like, metal and, like alt-rock music videos and, like, countdowns. Then you have Behind the Music on VH1, which I would learn about all these bands and, like, all these, like, 90s rap beefs and all this stuff. Like, E had, like, True Hollywood Story. And not now, but, like, I'll talk down the road about, like, my absolute obsession with when I was a kid, up until maybe, like, 5 years ago, with Howard Stern and, like, The Stern Show and all that stuff. But all that stuff. I mean, that's the prime of TV. Soup with Joel McHale. That is the prime of TV, is that moment from, like, 2000. Obviously, before that, I'm talking about for me because I wasn't born. From, like, 2000 to, like, 2011 was the absolute prime. Then you start bringing together, like, 16 and Pregnant and all that stuff, and it started going down a dirty path, and then now it's just shot. I remember, like, the last moments of it were, like, which I didn't even watch, was, like, Bro Code and, like, Catfish and all that shit. No. Room Raiders, Next, Parental Control, Pimp My Ride, MTV Cribs, fucking all the actual amazing music videos from, like, 2000 to 2009. All of it. And then, like I said, VH1 with all that stuff, and just an amazing, amazing moment in time. And it makes me feel very nostalgic. And now that we're talking about nostalgia, I'll branch off from just MTV and TV. If you were a kid, if you were, like, from, like, 1998 to 2008, if you were, like, in that child range of age, Pokemon was in terms of video games, unbelievable. Not only just video games, the cards too. I mean, everyone on the block, everyone in your school had the binder with all their cards. My grandma, when she'd go, like, she would take me and she'd go to, like, the corner store, and this just shows who I am. She would get, like, scratch tickets or, like, whatever. I always grew up calling them scratch tickets, but they're, like, scratch-offs, people call them. Scratch tickets, and, like, she'd get cigarettes when she used to smoke, and then she'd get me a pack of Pokemon cards or a pack of MLB Showdown cards. So you put them in your binder. If you're lucky, you get maybe a Blastoise holographic or some crazy shit. And anyway, you're always, like, kind of strong-arming the younger kids with their binder and be like, yo, no, this is a good trade. This is a rare one. You're just lying to them. Like, this is where I learned my skill of negotiation from early on, was Pokemon trading. Then you dabble into the games. So Game Boy Color changed the fucking game. Pokemon Blue, Yellow, which was with Pikachu, which was like an alternate, and then so it's Blue and Red. Oh my God! I mean, I could play that now. What an unbelievable game! And you could bring it everywhere. You're taking a drive with your family to your cousin's house in Jersey. It's 3 hours away. Guess what? You're playing Pokemon for 3 hours. It doesn't matter. The PSP leveled this up, but we'll get to that in another time. But then you got the Pokemon Game Boy Advance, right? Which was like a long thing. You had to have a worm light. But then if you got the SP, it would be like a little flip up. So you got Pokemon. Then you had like Mario, bro. Then, God forbid, the DS came out. And at the same time DS was out, also the PSP was out, like I said. And again, we'll get into those later. But Pokemon was an absolute game changer when I was a kid. Even like Dreamcast was fucking dope. Like the NBA Live with AI on the front was unbelievable. I had a PS2. My boy had a Xbox. My boy Vinny. I don't know if he's watching this, but if he is, Vinny, your Xbox was incredible. We would play Xbox on. Remember those TVs that had the VHS in it? Like he had a TV with like the VHS at the bottom. It was built in, and we'd play Xbox. We'd play Halo 1. We would play. They had like a game on the system already that was like a graffiti roller skating game. Awesome. So many of that stuff. I'm trying to look at what. So I got my Xbox actually. So I had a PS2 already, but I got my Xbox when I got straight A's. I'll never forget that. I got straight A's in like 3rd grade or whatever the fuck I was. I think I was like in 3rd grade, and and I got an Xbox Halo 1 edition, which was like see-through green. unbelievable. I remember I could tell you that whole campaign, like front to back, like that. This is the difference. All these kids now, I don't want to sound like I'm a fucking 50-year-old and I'm like, oh, back in my day. But like video games back then, because it was really all you could do. This wasn't like this dopamine overload or this I forgot what the term is they use, where it's like just there's so much shit. Like it's just stimulation overload, right? You're just overloaded with all this stimuli and like all you had to do was play that game. So you're playing a campaign, you're invested in the campaign. I remember when Gears of War 1 came out on Xbox 360. It was a movie. I mean, you're all fucking invested in that. Now, fucking these kids are playing Fortnite and COD. They're dying 80 times in a day. Like, it's just a different time. It's just a different time. I remember like Xbox had Halo 2, which was Xbox Live, and that was such an unbelievable experience. I remember I couldn't even fathom that I was like talking to my friends. Like we were basically like able to have like sleepovers playing video games every day, but just in my house. And I feel bad for the kids. God, I feel fucking bad for the kids who weren't able to have a TV in their room when they were kids. I mean, Jesus Christ. They're probably smarter than me now. But so what else do we got? I'm trying to look over here with some of the games. So you got Halo, and then like this is probably the same, but it is different because these were this is the thing. Is like I have a right to say this because all of the things that are popular now were their infantile stages, their inception was when I was a kid. Everything, literally to this day, everything that, if you're like 25 to 29 or older, everything that is popular now for kids, you have a right to say it was better when you were a kid. You know why? Because it was invented when you were a kid. Even the internet, everything. Xbox Live, fucking Pokemon, fucking like streaming, fucking like everything you could think of was not invented until we were born. So when you think about like how I'm saying Gears of War 1 or like Halo, these release dates were so like important where I remember like looking at my calendar. You used to in school you used to carry around like a little like schedule, I guess, where it would have like your days and I guess you'd write your homework in it. I would count off the days until Modern Warfare 2 after COD 4 came out, right after Modern Warfare came out, or excuse me, COD 4, then World at War. I remember when I was a freshman in high school and Modern Warfare 2 came out, I was counting down the days of that first month or two until it was, I think it dropped on like President's Day or Veterans Day, whenever they dropped it. It's just, that was really special. Now, we're at Modern Warfare 2 now, the second time around. There's been like 50 fucking CODs. So all these kids are like, the only one I'll give the new kids is Fortnite. There had been no innovation in the video game space whatsoever in terms of multiplayer games for like a decade. Probably around a decade until Fortnite came out. That Battle Royale, I know that like PUBG did it before them and there was a couple other games, but not at that scale and not at that type of like the ignition of that fucking like it was so viral. It was so every single person, it was even like 90-year-old grandparents knew about Fortnite. It took over. I've never seen a social phenomenon like that in my life. So I could talk about video games and just childhood like things beside. I could just talk about all this shit for days. Nostalgia is the best, and talking about old shit is unbelievable. And I'm gonna keep talking. Oh, dude, I just looked at my thing. MLB Slugfest, bro. MLB Slugfest, bro. I had them all. Jim Edmonds on the front. I think that was 01. Then 04 was fucking Sammy Sosa. The announcers were so funny. There's probably so many like comments that I didn't even understand that were like sexual, like that I just didn't get because like I was fucking like 8. But Slugfest was unbelievable. And then everyone had the friend who. And this is another thing. I was allowed to have GTA. I was allowed to have Grand Theft Auto, which was a big deal because a lot of people weren't. And my parents were pretty strict, honestly. It was brutal, but that just video games weren't on their radar. So like so many of my friends or cousins and shit like couldn't have it. And I was fucking playing it. Like I remember my like best friend from when I was a kid and still like a brother of mine to this day had it. He had GTA 3. He had an older brother who I looked up to as like my older brother. And him and all of his friends, who I thought were like the coolest kids ever, they would play, or like family events, we'd always go over their house, and like they'd be playing. It would always be the cousins around, all around the TV. That was amazing. All the kids around the screen, right? You have one like kind of big screen TV that's like probably weighs 3,000 pounds, and every cousin and close family friend who's at the birthday party or who's at like maybe it's even like a Christmas, who knows, is laying down just watching someone play GTA 3 or Vice City. And that was just a magical time in video games. GTA 3 was the first one that wasn't overhead. And, like, you're in, like, 4th grade. You're murdering people. You're hijacking cars and running people over. You're fucking going to strip clubs. It was so electric. Like, I'll never forget that. And then, like I said, Vice City comes out, and it's just the coolest video game, like, the coolest storyline that's ever been made. But that vision of just, like, a bunch of, like, kids who are, like, 8 to 15 just, like, circled around a TV, and it's either, like, GTA or, like, Crazy Taxi on or one of these fucking games. I mean, that's such a fond childhood memory. I mean, unbelievable stuff. And so that's my rant on video games. I could talk about it for days. I really could. The last couple things I'll say is how I kind of touched on this earlier with TikTok and how it's just like so much misinformation and so many people who are like acting like this is like they'll present a new idea as if it's new when it's been like an actual norm in whatever industry they're talking about for like the last 10 years. Specific to, I'm talking about like working out and stuff, but unbelievable is the amount of unoriginality, if that's even a word, on TikTok. I mean, I'll give you an example. There's a million examples of this, but I'll give you one quick example of just how unoriginal people are on TikTok. Like one genius, and who no one's ever going to know who it is, but they'll start a new trend. Or they'll start like a unique funny thing. Like I remember, I'll give you two quick ones that are recent. One kid, this like redhead kid, I was about to say ginger, but I don't know if that's like kosher on like social media. I don't know if it's like is that hate speech, but this one redhead kid like did this thing where like, oh, you get in an Uber when you drink 3 beers and you're like, what's up, bro? Like, and then he did like 7 beers and blah blah, which was funny and was unique. Then I saw like 8 different people doing this. So I was like, dude, that must suck to be that first kid because it's like, what the fuck? Like, my originality is just stolen. And then another one I just recently saw is theirs, which was I laughed the first time I saw it. Like, there's some TikToks that get me. They're funny. This kid is doing this course on how to, like, be more efficient when you're dealing with cops. And it's always, like, very sudden movements where, like, he takes out his wallet, looks like he's taking out a gun. I just saw a different person doing, like, basically the same thing. This is the thing. I saw the first one first. I don't know if that was the original or the other guy was the original. So like people are so unoriginal. It's just such a shame because like there's so much potential. That's why like when I create this shit, I'm not saying anything original, so to speak. I'm just kind of talking about my ideas, but like I'm not fucking like copying someone else's thing. It's just, and we've seen this forever within all different types of content, especially on YouTube. There'll be like YouTubers who like either start a specific type of content or like a way of presenting content or information, and then all of a sudden 4 different people in the same industry or the same space on YouTube will just basically outright steal it. So that's a disgrace, and we're getting to this rabbit hole now. This kind of ties in a little bit where we're just like losing as a society, I think. And I don't want to get like dark here, but so one of my good friends from my old job, he sent me this thing, and I'm sure people have heard about it. It's called like Chat GPT, I think, and I don't know the name. I'll put the name here, so like whatever it is, you'll see it. But it's this like AI where you could type in anything, and it tells you like you could. His example was like efficient, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like push pull routine. Yada yada yada, and it like in an instant gives him this long-winded fucking like workout plan that he probably would have had to have done months researching. Now, granted, I don't know how much trust I have in this because I'll give you one ridiculous example. I said this to my dad. I was like, "Yo, like, you got to see this fucking thing. Like, you basically could type in anything and it tells you the answer." So obviously, my dad goes, "Type in how to do crown molding." That's what he said. So now, obviously, the fucking thing, whatever, and I bet you everyone agrees with this. Whenever you like show an example of something to like your dad or something, that's the only time it won't work. So I was for hours fucking with this thing, fucking typing in like, fucking like best way to become better at cardio or like most efficient way to cook this or that. My dad goes, how do you do crown molding? Let's see if it knows that. And then like it starts fucking typing out this shit. A minute goes by, and then I'm like, no, it looks legit. I turn it to him, and he goes like, that's how you do it. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So, like, either he's being, like, spiteful, or this thing is pulling bad information, similar to, like, people are talking matter-of-fact stuff on TikTok, and it's just outright wrong information. Maybe the algorithm's taking it from that. Who knows? But the bottom line is, this AI is scary. My friend was showing me this example where people are on, like, Hinge and Tinder or whatever, these apps, and like a girl will say something, and then they just put in the response to this fucking app, and it types out like a perfect response. It's gonna get to the point where we are just too. I mean, we already know we're leaning in the direction where there's going to be some people who will be living in virtual world, whatever you want to call it, the metaverse, whatever you want to call it, sitting on a couch, just like cutting out a hole in the couch, shitting into it, having like a blowjob 3000 on their like. They're never gonna have to move, and they're just gonna die of like they're gonna have a feeding tube up their nose. They're never gonna have to move. Their muscles are just gonna atrophy until they become literally one with the couch. We know this already. But a scary realization of what I just said is that this AI thing, people are gonna be like on a dating app, and one guy's gonna say hey, or like whatever. The other girl's gonna say hey. One person's gonna say whatever, and then the one person is gonna say, oh fuck, what should I say here? Put it into the algorithm. It's going to spit out something to say. They're going to write that, and then the other person's going to go, oh, fuck, that was good. I don't know what to say. And then they're going to put it into a fucking algorithm thing, an AI thing, and artificial intelligence thing. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be a robot talking to a robot with the human as the broker, basically, which is just very dark and scary, very Matrix-like. And let me tell you, I mean, that is something to be scared about, because I thought maybe we made it, just like I said, how if you were born in like from 1995 to like 2000, no, like 1995 to like, yeah, it's like 1998, I'd say, you just made it where like a lot of social norms that don't exist anymore, or like very common pieces of technology that don't exist anymore, did when you were a kid. So you have the old world, you have the VHS, you have the CD, you have kind of only one computer in your house, or no internet, or like dial-up, or just like the inception of the internet, and then all this stuff, Facebook, MySpace, all this stuff. But the issue here is that I thought that we, because of that, were going to be able to die before society became this like fucking neurochip hellhole dystopia. Maybe not. If we're already up to the point where this AI system can tell me, albeit that crown molding is incorrect, but if it could tell me like just basic information that like you'd have to do research on Google for. I remember when I was a kid, and we'd be like, oh, I wish I had Google for when I was like in 6th grade for this. And then when I was like in high school, I used Google, and everyone's like, all the older people and my dad and everyone would be like, you're so lucky, you don't know, like we have to go to the library. Now I feel jealous of the kids who are in school now, who now they don't even have to fucking worry about Google. They can just type in a complex like algebra question, and it'll tell them. It not only will it tell them what it is, but it'll give them a unique response in terms of like the solution, so that they can look like they showed work. So we're fucked. Listen, we adapt, we live, and we learn. JohnnyCast out, and I'll see you next week. I think this was a good one. Cheers. Like and again, I've said this a million times, and I know most people watch on TikTok, and shout out to TikTok, because last clip I made, which was a Chipotle bit about how the girl's in the back wiping her ass with the fucking chicken breast, that was an incredible 15,000 view video for me. Most views I've ever got on TikTok. And maybe, yeah, half of them are Russian and Chinese robots, but who cares? The bottom line is 15,000 views. We're talking like almost 1,000 likes. Johnny's building. Look, it's peaks and valleys, but the important thing is that peak keeps getting bigger. So I don't care if there's valleys in the way. But next video, I want maybe 20. Next big video, I should say, maybe 25,000 views. Who knows? We're building slowly but surely. By age 30, give me 3.5 years or whatever, 3 years, we're talking full-time content creator, okay? Like and subscribe. Please comment. Come on. Help me out here. I get TikToks popping. Hit me up on YouTube. Cheers.